Okay, so where we last left off, Rada was taking a walk. Now, she wasn't exactly just taking any little walk. What she does is she goes to steal stuff. So the first thing she does is walks into a jewelry store and takes something right off the shelf. And the sad thing is, the sleight of hand roll isn't good enough this time. This was pretty much a failure, and the store clerk, the store owner, clearly sees Rada take something off the shelf, and he says nothing. That's the oddest part, because he says nothing when something is obviously being stolen, but we'll get back to that later. It'll be explained, trust me, and it's going to be very interesting. But after this, she goes over to the black market to see what she can sell and trade and whatnot. And she managed to figure out a little bit of what she has as well, though she hasn't really been able to get rid of most of it. But she was able to get rid of a few things. But what she did get was a gray bag of tricks, in which you could pretty much reach your hand in and pull out a fuzzy ball, throw it at something, or just toss it, set it down, whatever, and it turns into an animal. Now, she also got a Tiara of Tongues, which is a magical item that for a limited amount of time per day, she can speak and hear any tongue she wants, any language. And a campbriar. Now, for those who don't know, a campbriar is a living, breathing campfire with teeth. And it looks like a flaming badger or something close to. I don't exactly know. And but it when hiding, it looks like a campfire. Now, but I don't know if I mentioned this either, but Rada is a tiefling. So she's got fire resistance. So she can touch this thing without getting burned too badly. And thank you, Dungeon Master. Knightley, the Dungeon Master. I don't take damage from touching my Camp Briar. It's my Camp Briar, and I can pet it all I want, and you can just go, nope. Well, she also walks around and picks up a flame retardant bag to hold her new Camp Briar in. And after looking for a bit more, the black market's shutting down, it's getting late. Rada goes back to the lodge, goes to her room, and everybody is still out doing whatever. And Rada starts to sleep. And, well, one thing that happens is the Campbriar bonds to Rada overnight. The other thing that happens, though, is Rada has another dream. Now, she sees Ku's amulet and her mask sitting in this kind of a blank space, and she reaches over for the amulet because she's curious about the amulet. And from the two items pop up the two devils in some kind of cage. And it's soundproof, and they can't get through, and they're banging on it, they're trying to get out. And Rada goes over to her devil and tries to free it, and behind her she hears laughter, and as she turns, she sees 7 more or less monstrous figures. And then she wakes up. And when she does, well, Hallkeith is back. Hallkeith is climbing into bed, and Rada goes back to sleep. But she is very disturbed. She's not entirely sure what this means. Now, the other fun thing is, while this is going on, everybody else is getting information on the 7 deadly sins. Q goes off to an old museum, and that's where he learns about the 7 deadly sins. Meanwhile, Whole Keith learns about the 7 deadly sins over at the safe house. Now, there's quite a bit around this. The 7 deadly sins were actually defeated by 7 virtues. And, well, they weren't exactly killed. They were locked away for a very long time. But they're starting to get free. And it's only the 7 virtues that can defeat them. Now, these 7 virtues are also connected to 7 different races. Elf, human, dragonborn, tiefling, gnome, halfling, and dwarf. And maybe a few others, I might have missed some, but that's generally the whole idea. And, well, somehow Rada is connected to this. She's not entirely sure now, she's not exactly what's going on, but that's generally what happens. So Rada gets up, puts her new campfire, whom she names Sparky, into the flame retardant bag to carry him around in. And goes downstairs, and there's another job to do. They're supposed to go and gather up a couple of things. Some berries from the woods in order to make some nice drinks. Some wine or other drink, don't remember, from a place, a bar called the Ghostly Dragon, which is also run by the Ghostly Dragon. And also to go get some milk and honey from a local farm. So they all go their ways. Some of them go to pick berries, and Rada decides she's going to go to the bar, thinking that she's going to be able to do other things. So she walks into a bar, says that she's there to pick up an order for Ina, who is the elf that has hired them to do these things. And Q is there as well. Not entirely sure why, but it's kind of not sitting well with Rada. But as soon as she's there to pick up an order from Ina, the black dragonborn, the ghostly dragon, says, "Oh, you must be Rada." And Rada is wondering what the heck this guy knows. They talk a little bit. Rada is kind of shocked by what she hears. And Q ends up walking with Ina's order. And Rada realizes this and starts following Q. And Q demands to follow Rada to the person that hired her. And, well, stubbornly and reluctantly she agrees. So they go to Ina, and Ina waves Rada off and tells her to go help with something else, that she can handle the human warlock Q. Now, they discuss some things, but I'm not exactly sure. I wasn't paying too much attention. My goodness me. And Rada is sitting outside waiting for Q to give her a piece of her mind, is what's going to happen. And she does, pretty much saying that he had no right, that she was on business, etc., etc. And, well, they both go together to pick berries. Now, their Rada's not exactly too pleased. I'm not entirely sure how Q feels, but they both walk to the forest and straight into magical darkness. Now, because Ku has some kind of connection to a demon because he's a warlock. Devil. Sorry, Ku. Devil. But still, because of this, Rada cannot see. She can see in darkness, just not magical darkness. But Ku can. And Ku kind of helps lead Rada, and they end up coming to a big, giant crystal that is housing an orb of darkness. Now, for some reason, Ku has no idea what this is. He's the magic user, and he has no idea what is causing this. And somehow Rada does. So, in one swift move, Rada takes her short sword, shoves it into the crystal, creates a big enough hole, reaches in, grabs the orb of darkness, pulls it out, and the darkness is dispersed. But off to either side is another area of magical darkness. So they both split up to take care of the two areas of magical darkness. And Rada uses Sparky, her new campbriar, to help her find her way to the next one, while Ku goes on his own, staying perfectly fine to the other. Now, as Rada takes the first one, Ku kind of says, I'm taking the second one. I'm taking the next one. And Rada agrees, yes, you get the next one. Now, they both go their separate ways, and nesting around these big crystals that are housing these orbs of darkness are some axe-beaked birds. And Rada manages to slip past them and obtain a second orb of darkness before trying to kill the birds. And, well, it's a bit of a struggle. Rada does take a little bit of damage, but after the struggle, after a bit of struggling at least, Rada manages to sever the head of one, and her campbriar, Sparky, manages to eat the head of the other. And, well, that's that. But Ku is still having a problem with his. He's not faring as well. So Rada rushes over to the other orb of darkness, gets to the crystal, stabs through it, gets the other orb of darkness, and helps out the rest that she can, and she gives the third orb of darkness to Ku at the end of it. And Ku mentions their deal that he would get the next one. And Rada says, yes, I agreed that you would get the next one. I didn't say which next one. And leaves it at that, and they... Well, at this point, William, a halfling who has just joined the party recently, just decides to see what was going on. And finds the battle's over and everything, and agrees to help Rada take back these birds to be cooked. Now, Ku goes ahead while Rada and William are both dragging these birds back to the lodge, and they come across a key in the ground. Now, the key kind of glows slightly, not sure what it does or where or what it's to, and William is really curious, but Rada wants to get these birds back. She doesn't exactly want to risk it. She wants to get paid, pretty much. So William agrees, sure, we'll take these birds back, and then you're going to come back to help me figure out what this is. And Rada says, okay. So they take the birds back, and Ina takes the birds and takes them to the back room to cook them. And William goes, okay, time to help me go figure out what this key is to. Rada, being the rogue she is, says, I'm not risking, my time and energy and even my life for nothing, so you gotta pay me to come with you. I want some assurance that I'm going to get something out of this. And William agrees. Now, as they go, they follow the glowing of the key, and as they get closer to what the key is to, the key glows brighter. And the key leads them to a small cave. And inside this small cave is an old, deactivated Warforged. Now, they're not exactly sure what it does, they're not sure if it's safe. So Rada looks around the cave a little bit more, and William decides to check the Warforged. And as he checks it, he finds a little keyhole. So he puts the key in and turns it, but he has to wind it. So he winds it like it's a music box, an old wind-up music box. And the Warforged comes to life and starts walking to the lodge. Now, this is kind of a little alarming. For some reason, Rada doesn't exactly want to get doesn't exactly feel safe with the Warforged going over to the lodge. Now, you could pretty much say for many different reasons. Maybe Rada's actually getting a heart, but it's possible. It's possible not. She could just be stopping the Warforged to make sure that she is going to continue to get paid. And just take it as you will, but Rada has a problem with this, gets in the way of the Warforged, and says, "Stop." The Warforged stops and asks for Rada's identification, to which she says her name, Rada. And the Warforged then requests that he continues to his destination, and Rada asks why. And for a small moment, the voice of the Warforged changed to a small, frightened child, saying, "Please, just let me continue." And that's kind of disturbing a little bit. But Rada just goes, "Okay." Gets out of his way and kind of follows it, or even getting ahead of it. But seeing that the Warforged doesn't exactly do anything, she's not exactly worried about it. But it kind of turns a little creepy later. Now, when they get back, there's another guy joining the party. Another Dragonborn named Bendiga. Now, pretty much after the whole day's work and all that, they decide they're going to have a little fun, and they start drinking. Now, Rada asks for some ginger ale. She's not exactly used to very strong drinks, so she's a light drinker. If there was like a light brew, nothing hard like, beer or anything, she'd be drinking that. Pretty much the closest thing that you could get to a day-to-day soft drink. Now, when she asks for the ginger ale, this ginger ale is a little special. So when she drinks it, her hair turns ginger. She's kind of shocked by this, because at first she had black hair, now it's ginger hair, and this is going to last for about 2 days. So as events are going on right now, I think her hair is still ginger, I'm not sure. But anyway, continuing on, and as she drinks this, her hair turns ginger, and William looks over and goes, "Oh my goodness, that is cool, I want to try some." And, well, Rada mentions that she's not exactly a heavy or strong drinker, but she requests that she tries some of William's drink, which is strong drink. And when she does, she kind of gets a little tipsy right off. Not exactly thinking straight already with just the one drink. And William's hair turns ginger as he takes a drink from the ginger ale. But Rada decides she's going to go on a drinking competition, and Bendiga accepts. Bendiga, the Dragonborn, accepts. And they pretty much just go, 10 gold, I can last longer than you can. And Bendiga accepted those terms as well. Now, I would say technically Rita won because she had a drink before Bendiga, but Bendiga was also drinking some pretty odd concoctions himself. Ina had a bit of a thing for magical brews, odd drinks that you mix together, yet they stay separated, and quite a bit of the like. But well, Rada and Bandiga both get 3 drinks down. Rada tries to stand up and falls over, just passed out. Bendiga stands up, tries to walk, and passes out. One after another. So technically nobody really won this one. But William is a bit of a prankster and he gets an idea. He wants to put the two of them in the same bed. But since he's so small, not very big, not very strong, he needs a little bit of help. So he goes around asking for help, and then he gets to Ina. Ina agrees, but with one stipulation. They cannot be in the same bed, but they can be in the same room. And William agrees to that. So William and Ina drag Rada and Bandiga up the stairs and into a room and into separate beds. William kind of tosses Rada into a bed, and Rada kind of bumps Rada's head a little bit, which she might have felt that in the morning a little bit, but well, when they wake up, Rada has a very big. She's having a really bad hangover, headache, nausea, the whole shebang. Meanwhile, Bendiga is taking it a little better than Rada. He's only got like a light headache, maybe not that steady, but steadier than Rada is by far. Bendiga stands up and, well, offers to help Rada. Rada says, "No, I'm fine," and then tries to stand up and sits back down and says, "As soon as the room stops spinning." To which Bendiga walks over and picks Rada up and starts to head to the door. And Bendiga, he's just trying to be helpful, but Rada is not going to have to. She goes, "Whoa, hey, what are you doing? Put me down." And Bendiga goes, "If being this close is uncomfortable, I'm already arranged to marry a blue dragonborn named Fina." And Rada goes, "That's not it. Just put me down." So Bendiga puts her down, kind of going, "Suit yourself," and walks down the stairs. And after a moment, Rada follows, still not all that steady on her own feet, and clings to the railing of the stairs for dear life because she has no idea if she's going to be able to make it down. Partway down, Ina offers to help, and Rada refuses, still slowly creeping down the stairs. And as soon as she reaches the bottom, she walks over to the closest table she can find and sits down and asks Ina if she has a remedy for hangovers. And in a moment, Ina comes out with some tea that tastes like whatever you want. Pretty much, it tastes like your favorite drink in the whole world. So Ina pours Rada a cup, Rada takes it and goes, "Oh, that's good." And her headache, her hangover is gone. And she's a little calmed down too. She's a kind of relaxed. So, but then Rada asks what their next mission is. And the next mission is to steal back the Ember Rod from a guy named Duke Leroy. And after some more information was given out, they started to plan.